Good. Yes, it's good. Um, I want to welcome everyone who's on the live stream this morning, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. You're part of our spiritual community, and we welcome you here as though you were here physically. Our theme for giving is for this month is giving as a part of the year of spiritual practice. And in choosing the particular title today, What Do I Have to Give? There is a bit of a dual meaning to that turn of phrase. If the accent is on a certain word in the phrase, what do I have to give is meaning what am I required to give, right? Or what do I have to give? Meaning what is the one thing or the two things or the three things that I am accomplished in that I can give as part of tithing my time and talent. So we're going to explore both of those a little bit today. We can eliminate the first one fairly quickly because I don't have to do anything I don't want to. It reminds me of that character that Lily Tomlin played on Laugh-In in the 60s. You remember Edith Ann? She sits in that huge oversized chair. She has her hair in braids and she sits there and she says, "My name is Edith Ann and I don't have to do nothing if I don't want to." Remember that? That's a good imitation, wouldn't you say? Yes, yes. So, you know what? It's almost like being 10 years old. I don't have to do this if I don't want to. You're not the boss of me, kind of thing. And she was right. We don't have to do anything or give anything if we don't want to. And yet, our desire is to practice the law of giving and receiving and do it in a coherent and a congruent way so that circulation is guaranteed to be perpetuated. As Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, we don't just breathe in, we breathe out too. So there is a circulation involved here, and it's very necessary for the livingness, as he calls it, of each and every one of us. Where I want to go today with this is accented in the what of what do I have to give aspect of this talk title. Ernest Holmes said that those of us who seek to know more of God, more of spirit, more of the universe, don't need to put anything into ourselves. We don't need to put more in. He says what we need to do is draw out that which is already there. And that everything we seek to learn is simply a revelation of that which we already know at some very deeply intrinsic level. And we simply attract those teachers most adept at helping us draw that out. And so I really got that. As I was listening to James Van Prague rented our space last night for an event that he put on, and it was filled. It's totally filled to capacity last night. And I came back after Jeannie's auction dinner for a little bit to just simply be here to let him know that I was here to support him. And he was just amazing. I don't know if it was just me last night, but he was really amazing. And he was so beneficial to those people that he talked to. You know, he talks to dead people, and he talks to people beyond the veil, as the saying goes. Now, some people may not believe that this is true about what he's doing, but last night he spoke to a member of our center, and she, it was spot on because I know the whole circumstance and situation around the death of this person and her family. So what I get is it's that sort of that wisdom thing again. I put wisdom in quotes actually, where on hearing what someone else says, or we read what someone else has written, and we resonate with it at a really deep level. And all of a sudden we're transformed for a second because something so wonderful just washes over us, because in that moment there is that remarkable form of wisdom where we know that we've already thought the same thing that this person is saying or that this person is writing. And it's just it so resonates with me because I've already thought the same thing. And so there's so much comfort in that, knowing that we're on the same page with somebody else, or that we're not ridiculous in our thinking anymore. I remember when I first came to the Science of Mind, I thought, whoa, there's a whole bunch of people here who think the same way that I do, and they're not crazy either. You know, because I had been told by some of my friends that that's just crazy thinking. You know, to move beyond the traditional Christian belief system was just crazy, and I was going to go to hell in a handbasket, as the saying goes. But there's true enlightenment and seeing a much bigger picture than we'd heretofore seen or felt when we get to that place of awareness where we're part of something else. Maybe somebody else doesn't have the secret, and we're beginning to find out that secret if there is one. And so there's tremendous comfort in knowing that. Carol Carnes wrote an incredible piece in her blog this week, and I want to share it with you and sort of analyze it from my perspective. She began seeing the bigger picture as not to ignore the parts, but rather to realize that they're temporary aspects of the whole. Something contains this local reality, yet we are not subsumed by it. The container is not physical, as in a huge sphere, but is one of fluid intelligence moving in and out of form. And we are vehicles for that experience. You know, we are vehicles for the creative intelligence of the universe to fluidly play out its idea as us. This is what we're here to do. And there are things we know, gifts that we have, talents that are unshared that we can share with other people. It's just something about why we've come here to be who we are. It's not to keep it for ourselves, but to give it out into the world in a bigger way. Some words, so ordinary separately, but when put together, make all the difference in the world. And one of the turns of phrases that I particularly like is, I can help you with that. You know, when someone comes to me with a challenge in their life, or they come to me with an idea that they have that they want to see explored in depth, and I can simply say to them, I can help you with that. It's something that is so freeing for that other person. It's a very small thing. If somebody comes to us with a problem having to do with an area in which we can excel, or we are excelling, I can help you with that, becomes a wonderful guideline. Carol goes on to say, that does not mean that we have no say in what happens to us. In fact, we are bound to determine our own destiny while granting the intelligence or spirit its intention. Joseph Campbell said, human beings are protoplasm with an urge. Did you ever hear that before? We're protoplasm, that's all we are, nothing but protoplasm with an urge. Well, the urge is the press to express, as Carol says. It is the impulse to create. It is the drive to become. It is the joy of being. It's that intelligence that's seeking an outlet through us. That is our part in the whole, to give voice to what wants to be fully heard, and to give a face to that which needs to be seen, to give experience to that which is inert, to give form to that which is formless, and to give life to that which is birthless and deathless. Now, to me, this is pivotal, because while we can do this alone and be dreadfully lonely in our experience of it, we don't have to do it that way. We can come here on Sunday. We can be in class. We can attend a workshop where we know that every other person in that class or on Sunday is congruent with our thinking. We don't have to explain ourselves to anyone. This is the beauty of it. God is a universal God, you see. This is a thing that we may not have known before coming to the Science of Mind. It is also a generous and loving God. It is a God that says yes to whatever desire I place into the law of mind. and it acts upon that desire to the level of my own consciousness to receive. That's the caveat. You know, I can say that God acts on whatever desire I place into the law of mind, but there's one step further. I have to be receptive to that idea. I have to be receptive to seeing that desire manifested in my life. There is such freedom in seeking a deeper, more fulfilling relationship with God through the people of like mind. It's just so wonderful to sit at a dinner table with a bunch of people last night, and you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to answer to anybody there because everybody knows that we're all on the same page. It's a beautiful thing. Plus, you get to eat great food too. So there's such a wonderful freedom in knowing that we're part of something bigger and more in depth than we've ever known before. Carol goes on to say, seen in that light, we realize how free we are. Not only free, but supported by life itself. Everything we could possibly need to live this life is already alive in the field of intelligence as potential. As potential. Like Joseph Campbell said in his interviews with Bill Moyers, he said, you know, we really don't have a purpose in life. If we have one and we fulfill that purpose, then we're done. We're complete, right? And we're ready to go to another dimension, if you will. But if we see ourselves as pure potential, it's something that keeps going on and on and on and on. And it's a wonderful thing. There's an unending possibility of being Cindy, of being John, of being Chris. There's an unending possibility. That's the beautiful thing. It is ours to draw out into visibility by means of our own self-identity. She says this is why the two little words in any language, I am, are so critical in the creative process. If you were looking at the what do you call that thing? Screen. If you were looking at the screen earlier, you saw just the two words, I am, on the screen. That wasn't intentional to this particular morning. It just happened to be there. But these are the two words that are so critical in the creative process. We guide the intelligence into the local reality by means of those two words. When I put I am in front of anything, that becomes my experience. So if I'm going to say I am stupid, guess what? I am stupid. If I get to say I am brilliant, guess what? I am brilliant. So it's our choice as to how we want to play this out. She admonishes us to watch how we describe ourselves to ourselves when we're alone. Be very careful, she said, that you do not condemn who you are. In doing so, we condemn the life that is being you. Instead, praise your own potential as if it were fully revealed now. You know, there are times in our lives, and I'm not going to say that it's all roses and, what did you say, green lights this morning? Roses and green lights. Because it really isn't all that. But sometimes we give those red lights and those dead flowers a whole lot more power than we give the roses and the green lights, right? There are times when we're demoralized or a little bit of sort of out of sync with the universe. And even though we're in prayer on a daily basis and we meditate and we read spiritual material, it seems as though nothing can bring us out of our funk. You know, we're just down in the dumps. And maybe what that means is it's time for us to do a little self-evaluation, or maybe to talk to somebody else who can, someone who can raise us up a little bit. And so the biblical saying, if I be raised up, then all others shall be raised up as well. So this is the idea. In the shamanic traditions, if you came to the medicine man feeling disheartened or depressed or dispirited, he would ask one of four questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? And when did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence? These are simple questions at the outset, but they are profound when they're explored in depth. When we feel disheartened, depressed, or dispirited, we are bowed in allegiance to the life at the level of effect. We're looking at the effect of the world and saying, ain't it awful? And nothing is ever, ever, ever healed at the level of effect. The effect is simply there for us to observe. We get to look at it and we get to say, what is it that I can personally do to change something like that? It is not intended that we fix or change anything at the level of effect. What we are here to do is to change the consciousness that created the depressive, disheartened, and dispirited part of us. That's what we're here to do. We're here to merely observe those times in our lives when we feel this way. And then, as Eckhart Tolle says, if I feel disheartened, depressed, or dispirited, then I get to explore why that's happening for me. When did we stop dancing? When did we stop singing? And when did we stop being enchanted by stories? When did we stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence? Last Saturday, my granddaughter and my goddaughter turned 5 last Saturday. And they had this little event at this little place in Encino called Fairies and Dragons. Has anybody ever been there? As adults, we should go have a party there. I think based on the shamanic observation, we should go have a party there. All these children got to dress up in costumes, their choice as to which character the little boys wanted to be, which fairy or princess the little girls wanted to be. And as we're driving to the event, Sydney, who's 9.5, almost 10 in October, she's in the back seat and she says to me, she said, Momo, she said, she said, Sierra still believes in princesses and fairies and dragons. And I said, yes. And she said, I think we need to be very careful not to disillusion her. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Sydney, when did you stop believing in princesses, fairies, and dragons? Well, last Christmas, I recall when she informed me that we needed to be careful because her mother would be very upset if she found out that Sydney didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore. And so we carried the charade through this past Christmas. And then it came to the Easter Bunny, and we carried the charade through the Easter Bunny. So now we have this very adult, double-digit grandchild of mine who's now wanting to carry the charade for my little goddaughter. And it's interesting to me that children at a certain age, they become aware, more aware. And when I dance and sing, I am filled with that pure essence of spirit, and I have so much to give. That's not to say that Sydney doesn't do that. My granddaughter and my goddaughter do that. But when did we stop doing that? When did we stop, in wanton abandon, just dancing around the house or skipping down the street because we were afraid of what someone else might think of us? But for some of us, this activity may make us feel a little bit vulnerable. And so we stop doing those kinds of things. We stop acting, we stop being children. We stop doing those childlike things. But my mentor and my teacher, Maria Nemeth, redefines vulnerable as letting the winds of change blow freely over your soul. That's the new definition for vulnerable. Not to feel compromised in any way, but letting the winds of change blow freely over my soul. And so when I am in touch with that part of my soul, I am filled to overflowing. And I cannot help but give and give generously of my time and talent and my treasure because I am filled up. That's where we want to go today. I cannot contain who I am because it's not how big my life is, but it's how big my God is. And that's where we want to go with all of this. How big is my God? Carol's affirmation at the end of her blog read, Life as me is happy, healthy, prosperous, loving, and loved. Mother Teresa said, happy moments, praise God. Difficult moments, seek God. Quiet moments, worship God. Painful moments, trust God. Every moment, thank God. I cannot give anything that I don't already have. So our job today is to really practice this thing called life in a significant way. Practice, 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 one of my teachers used to say to me. And that's what we're here to do. We are here to practice being spiritual beings having a human experience. Human beings having a spiritual experience. It's one and the same thing. What do I have to give? Me, myself, and I. It's the greatest and the only gift that we have as we let the winds of change blow freely over our souls, knowing that with God, all things are possible. Will you join me in consciousness, please? And so as I speak this truth for all of us present today in the first person, I do so knowing that the creative intelligence that is demonstrating itself by means of me today is that same creative intelligence in the universe. One and the same thing, the microcosm of the macrocosm. And so today, as I let the winds of change blow freely over my soul, I know that my soul is completely intact. There is nothing that can change or destroy that which is God ordained within me. And so today I begin to see life from a different perspective. I begin to see what it is that I give to the world. What it is that I have to give to the world. I give my love today. I give my generosity today. I give my support. I give the truth to my world. And I give a loving presence to my world. Because my world is the world of all people, all beings. It is the world in which I create the better part of who I am to move out in a wonderful way. There is a universal truth that says, I think, therefore I am. And I like to say it, I am, therefore I think. And so today, I know that I don't have to believe everything I think. I know that I simply allow for an observation about what is going on in the world of effect. And I see it as a call to prayer. I see it as a call to truth. I see it as a call to love. And so today, for each and every one of us, I know that what we have to give today is just the best of who we are. And so we do this generously. We do this with kindness. We do this by being fully present to what is going on in our lives and the life of everyone else in the world. And we bless. We bless and we bless again. And we know that the art of giving is a transcendent thing, that it moves beyond the mere act of giving something, money, gifts. It moves beyond all of that to giving of our time and our talent, knowing that sometimes what someone else needs is just a moment of who we are so that that person can know who they are. And so today, I simply bless the opportunities that we have to share who we are from this thing called the science of mind and take it out into our world in a way that works for everyone. And so I release my word to the law, knowing that as I release my word, the joy and the celebration of this beautiful child in our midst today moves out into our world in a really big way as we say together, and so it is.